Hello, everybody, and welcome back. Today we're doing page 2 of the children's book that I'm working on, Monster Under the Bed. And you see, I forgot to record the first part. I would have liked to have shown it to you, but basically I just went through and put in like some very muted grayish colors, as I've been doing in some of my other videos. Nothing too exciting just yet. And you'll just see as I go through, I'm just going to slowly work up collars, leave some collars, and then hopefully it turns out. I know how it turned out, and I know my thoughts on it. I really like the way it turned out. And as usual, like I'm still in a phase where I'm trying to include as many collars as possible. You can see me right now. I'm working on the bed here, and there's not a whole lot of collar change. Technically speaking, at least not big shifts in collars. There are a lot of collar changes, hue changes, and I'm really trying to do that in all of my videos, make them more colorful, while still trying to make them look good. You know, not getting too crazy, not just slapping down yellow, red, and blue on there and just calling it a day, but you know, doing various, like right here, you see I'm putting like purples and stuff for his hair, which the kid has actually got like kind of like a brownish color hair, a light brown, light to dark brown, depending on the scene. And you'll see this image actually goes through quite a few changes. I believe this took me a total of 6.5 hours to do this image. This is still kind of early on in the beginning of my coloring and painting phase for this series of images for my book, so I'm actually still working out a lot of the ideas and details, you know, that I want to follow throughout the rest of the book. You know, I'm building a theme and I'm going to try and stick with it, like, you know, how I approach each image, you know, trying to keep them all coherent. You see there I accidentally sped ahead. I do that fairly often. I miss some recording time, but you're not missing a whole lot. It's basically me just kind of working through what colors I want to put down and work with. And right now I'm really just focusing on kind of building up my values and some different colors. Values are the most important thing. And eventually you'll see me make, well, no, if you look to the right there in my layers, I already have a value layer. I just need to click it and check it, which I will do eventually. Because right now, I believe I'll go through and darken the darks, like the shadow on the boy's face. I had to go through here and fix some of this stuff. I actually add an extra 1/4 inch to my image, and right there you saw me fixing a little bit of it. That way, if I do ever get these printed, then they'll have an extra 1/4 inch of bleed. Oh, there we go. It's playing with the values a little bit, looking at the face. Like right now, like the face, the values are almost completely identical to like the background. And that definitely has to change, and it will change here shortly. I'm not entirely sure when, but I start going with a pretty bold change. You see those little squiggle lines I did in his hair. It was me kind of getting frustrated. Like, I know I'm playing it super safe right now, and I'm keeping a lot of my values real similar, and my collars real similar, and that's just a little bit of my brain just trying to tell me that I needed to break out, that I need to do something a bit extra. And I will throughout the image. I do it kind of slowly, obviously, because this is a sped up time-lapse video, and you'll see over the course of time that I do start to make some more changes. Like that bear, that's decidedly a darker shadow than what I've done so far. And I think that's going to start helping direct me when I go to do the boy's face as well. And here I'm changing his hair. It didn't quite seem symmetrical enough for me. It just fell off. I didn't like it. You see when I flipped the canvas there, which I do fairly often, Like something just wasn't jiving for me. I wasn't really liking it. So I decided to go in and make a few changes. And that's one of the best things about working digitally. Like I can just go in and just start making just wholesale big changes, and I can even do it on different layers. That way, nothing's permanent. I haven't made any huge mistakes, and it's pretty carefree situation. I'm finally happy with kind of the symmetrical shape of the hair, but yeah, like right there, add one more like long hair to kind of balance it out. Because for some reason to me, it was just driving me nuts. Whether that's better or not is up to the viewer, but personally, I really enjoy it. And you see me here, like, I'm like, this just isn't colorful enough. I need to do something. Like, I was getting frustrated with it. I don't think I stick with this. I'm not entirely sure. But my brain is, there, I'm checking my values again. My brain's starting to work in the right direction. Like, I'm like, this just isn't working. This isn't dark enough. I need to go through here and really just start making some changes. And this is where it all starts happening. This is where it starts coming together for me. Once I start getting those colors in there and the darker values, this is where I start feeling more comfortable with the image itself. I think so. I'm still checking out values and color, trying to decide if I like that yellowish skin tone. I'm not sure if I keep that or not. Nope, I didn't. But I still know that I need to really get in there. And you see, I completely redid what I already had. I didn't treat it precious. I just went in and just started laying down colors because I'm like, I know there's something wrong. I need to make a change, and I just start doing it. See, I'm checking my values again. I'm like, okay, those are getting closer. That's a little more what I want. And I'll go through and work this image until it gets a little closer. Just slowly. That's all you can do is just go through and just slowly build up your images and kind of figure out what works best, what you're happiest with, and experiment. Like most of this right here is me just experimenting with color. A lot of these images I've actually already painted traditionally, but I decided I wanted to go digital with them so I could play around a bit more with the colors and variations because I was kind of going for like a watercolor traditional color scheme, and it wasn't working for me. Wasn't happy with it. And this way in traditional I can play around a lot more, really boost up my colors and just have a good time. And you'll see just slowly, like throughout the whole image, I'll bounce around. I'm just slowly adding darks and lights and trying to keep the main character there with his teddy bear, trying to keep them in mind while I'm doing the background back here. And I finally decided I wanted to, add the light from the lamp to the walls back here, which will help boost out that side of the boy's head as well. That way I'll give it a little more emphasis on the boy. Checking my values again. And I'm really trying right here to keep kind of a painterly effect on the back wall. I don't want it super smooth and pretty, I want it to be, I want brush strokes and variation and interest. That's my main goal. I want all that while still, having a good image. And I'm really playing with that here lately. Really experimenting, really just getting down into it and trying new stuff. Most specifically is just trying a bunch of color, different saturations of color. Like I start off obviously pretty grayed down and just kind of let it build up over time, and then I'll go ahead and do like an adjustment layer, and boost up my saturation and play around that way. I'm kind of struggling with the curtains back here. I don't know what color I want them to be, and they were just too obvious. Like they were drawing too much attention, so I kind of backed off. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna come back to that. I'm gonna let my brain kind of cool down. It was overheating, trying to figure out what the problem was. I mean, not really, but like it was stressing me out a bit because I couldn't get exactly the color and the value that I was wanting to get. So for me, I just move on to something else, something I'm more comfortable with, kind of relax, and start feeling good about where I'm doing some painting in certain areas. And then, when I start feeling good about what I'm doing here, eventually I'll make my way back to the curtains, and I'll be like, oh yeah, I should just do it like this. And when I try to like work the whole image kind of together and kind of not together, like, because as certain parts of your image change, you tend to need to readjust other areas. At least I do. And you can see I still have areas that need cleaned up, like by the kid's leg and stuff like that. But I'm not worried about that. I'm not focused on it. The collars of the face are like one of the most important things to me, and the hair. Eventually, I really start playing with the hair and collars in the hair, collars in the background, like on that lamp. Just slowly working through the image, kind of bumping up details and cleaning it up, changing collars, adding more lights right here. Yeah, I really enjoyed this image. And these images all together, I've actually had all these drawn for years since I was in college, and I've just now gotten to the point where I got busy with real life and just working to provide for my family and make a living, and it wasn't art related, and I kind of just moved away from doing art, and this is me just kind of getting back into it, doing what I love. Because when I was a kid, I used to draw all the time. I absolutely loved it. It was one of the most fun things that I did. It was definitely my hobby. And as I get older, I realized what that meant to me as a kid. It wasn't just a childhood like, oh yeah, I like crayons, yeah, blah blah blah. It's actually a part of me, a part of who I am. And I got busy with life, and I let kind of life struggles take that joy and that fun away from me, and here I am trying to gain it back. I had a lot of fun with these floorboards back here. They were real painterly, as you can see, with varying colors and just brush strokes. I really enjoyed that. I need to do more images where I can incorporate more of that in there. And I feel like in this image I'm pretty well set in the style that I want. So it probably won't change much. I probably won't get as many brush strokes and stuff in there as I would like. But I am overall happy with the work I'm doing. So here I am back to the curtains in the background, trying to play with them. I clearly want them to be separate from the wall. They should be lighter, but I don't, kind of like they're white or close to white in the background, but like that's in a dark area, so they can't actually be white, or it would take way too much attention away from the main character and his teddy bear. So you see me just kind of working. I'm going in close because I think I'm just probably going to finish up this back area and be done with it. Trying to work out the frame for the windows. Not really getting too detailed about it, but I do go back there and I play around a bit later on. Might see here soon. I think I add like some stars and like a little bit of glow, like the sun is setting. Like maybe it's summertime and the sun stays up later. I'm getting into some more of the nitty gritty details, adding collars to the box of crayons in the background. Because of course, my main character, he likes art. He likes to draw. Why not? He likes to have a good time. Baseball themed lamp with some like little bouncy balls or marbles or something in the background. Oh, I make a change here. I made it just like a darker wooden color, and I was like, wait, that's not what I've been doing so far. So I made it more of a cooler kind of greenish gray in the back there. Just playing around, adding some occlusion shadows and stuff to the lamp and the balls. Adding some bounce light, reflected light to the little balls or marbles or whatever they are. I don't know. Just wanted to add some kid things in the background. Oh, we're back to the hair. Since I finished the curtains, I feel comfortable. Well, I was like, well, no, I'm not completely finished with the background curtains. Here I am. I'm going to add that. There you go. Like a little bit of glow from like a sunset, The Like it's not fully dark out, because around here in the Midwest, it's light in the summertime till almost 10 o'clock at night, or close to it, depending on the time of summer. So I wanted to add that in the background, because my kids, they tend to go to bed when it's still just a little bit light out in the summertime. Add some toys to the toy box in the background. It's just a little generic tote. We do something kind of similar with the kids. Just go out and buy a decent tote just for something for them to throw all their toys in. And you notice I tried to preserve some of the textures and stuff from the paint that I had back there, not fully rendering out the tote. This is just some kind of scribbled like Iron Man, super soldier type of toy superhero robot thing in the background. Little truck. Cleaning up the floor a little bit. I like to add like the little details back there. I think when I do some more artwork, when I do another series of drawings, I'm going to add a whole lot more stuff. Like a whole, just like little knickknacks and things that go along with the environment, especially in a kid's room. Just add a ton of stuff. Adding some more stars back there. Cleaning this up a little bit. Kind of moving along, getting closer to my finish. I think I'm about 2/3 of the way done. Starting to feel pretty good about the image. It's starting to take a good direction. Although, I'm still working on it. I'm not just cleaning up. I'm still thinking, it doesn't feel complete to me. It doesn't feel that close to completion. Like I know something's missing. Here I am checking my image, kind of trying to figure out what I need to do, how complete, how finished of a look that I want, because I don't want it too glossy. I really like those brush strokes, and adding a little bit of reflected light, even though it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It helps me, like on that eyebrow there, that green bit helps me add more color and kind of define the shapes a little bit. Adding some green to the nose and the ear, some of the clothes. I really like doing that. That's fun for me. That's something I enjoy doing right now. Whether it's correct or not, I like it, and I'm gonna continue to do it because I like it. And at the end of the day, as far as art goes, man, sometimes you got to make up your own rules. Make rules, bend rules, break them. As long as you're happy with your art, I think that's the way to go. And as an artist, if you guys are also artists watching this, you'll know that you're your worst critic. Everybody else is probably like, "Oh, you're so good at your art," and you're like, "Oh, what?" You're a little confused because you see something different than they see. Here I am playing with the hair again. I'm like, this still just isn't quite right. It doesn't seem right. There we go. I was finally like, you know what? I'm making big changes. I'm just going to do it. And that's usually, when something's bugging me, I just eventually end up having to make a big change. Because I know I'm just not pushing far enough. And I do that a lot. I tend to be a little too conservative when I'm doing my art and coloring. Like I don't take enough big chances until I get like super frustrated. Even now, like I'll probably look back on this a few years from now and be like, oh, I could have pushed that so much further, and I could have done this and I could have done that. But for now, I recognize when I'm having issues, and I try to push my own boundaries. That's what I should say. I push my own boundaries and my own expectations, and over time, those boundaries and expectations will tend to shift. Adding like a little bit of a furry texture to our little teddy bear there. Adding some of that green to him. I think I get rid of some of it. I can't remember. Like I know I make some changes. Oh yeah, I'm adding like more of a purplish reddish in there. There we go. I was in my head, I was like, more color. I need more color. Because otherwise I get this feeling that it's just too boring. Just going ahead and going around, and I'm trying to define shapes, adding some variations in colors again. And I looked at that. I don't know what I was doing when I drew that. But it's like I had two like lips, like he was a mutant bear. I don't know what my idea was there. But here I'm really starting to like this, adding the highlights. This is like part of the fun stage where you go back in and you start adding highlights and that sort of stuff. It's when your image really starts to look interesting. And you know, the sad thing is I could continue to just keep on working on this and working on it, and I think I would keep on improving it, but at some point you just have to be like, enough is enough. I gotta move on. You know, I can't spend, you know, a month drawing one image. I mean, I could if I wanted to be like super like focused on it, but you know, you gotta have fun. You gotta do the best you can, and you gotta get out. And sometimes give it a day or two, come back, take a look at it, see if there's anything else you want to add. And I'd say if you're mostly pleased with it, if you nail, I'd say about 80 to 90% of what you originally wanted to nail in that image, if you accomplish most of your goal as far as art goes, I think you're doing really well. Just continuing to work through, adding some more darks to just kind of define the boy some more. And another thing I could do is get rid of my lines. If I got rid of my lines, it would force me to paint this more detailed. It would push me to a different area, you know, like I would have to focus more on what things should look like instead of letting my lines do most of the work for me. Because that's the thing about lines, is they do a ton of work. If you have lines in your image, they do most of the talking for you. And you see that I've got them actually, the opacity on my lines is down pretty low, which eventually I bump back up. I think I keep them around like 10%, 10-15%. That way they're there to guide me, but like they don't influence me more than they should. I mean, they possibly are influencing me more than they should at this point, but you know, it's just it's something I'm trying. Adding a little art back here, a little happy tree and some sunshine. Oh, and here we go. I've been adding a little mouse to each one of these images, just for continuity, something fun. But every one of my images, I'm gonna tuck away a little mouse in there somewhere, because I live out in the country. We got mice everywhere. Luckily, I have a cat that typically chases them down and takes care of them, but not always. But we're just gonna draw a happy little mouse in the background, and he's gonna be a theme throughout this book. I enjoy doing stuff like this. I want to have like little hidden stories in each one of my illustrations, but I'm doing the best I can for now. I'm really enjoying what I'm doing, and I hope you guys are enjoying it too. If you guys have any questions or comments, maybe I missed something or you think I could do something extra, you know, I'm more than happy to hear about it. So let me know. Maybe subscribe, and thanks for stopping by. I really appreciate it. Take care. Bye-bye.